Some voices.
Yes, sir.
Ready, sir?
You can see me
Yes, sir.
and you can hear me both, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, I don't know actually if you can read me, no, yes, no, whatever. Okay. Now, petroleum product tankers. What happens is crude oil, obviously, we can't use it. And to my knowledge, you get about some 20 odd products out of it, crude oil. Okay. So, there is something much more than what we use. But main ones like we like to have gasoline, that is petrol, or like kerosene. In the beginning, they were using only kerosene. Okay, then they started extracting other things. So you have got diesel, naphtha, a lot of products come out. So they are done in refineries. Now, how do you transport that? You can't put refineries everywhere. They're huge. And now, okay, that statement is no longer true because you have got micro refineries now. But the issues will be same. How do you supply them the raw material? So if you are going to take it by truck, it is same thing. Taking the finished product from the refinery.
But
So
sir, earlier it is in form of crude oil, na?
correct. That crude oil
Then
is required everywhere. Now what happens? Big refineries have got massive products and they even have pipelines connected to the port to load product tankers. So micro refineries are around, means at least I know their existence for more than 10 years, but they generally cater to the specialized products for industrial use. Anyway, coming back to our things, we need the product tankers. Now, what is the requirement for product tanker? You are going to have smaller parcels relatively for different ports, and you may have variety. You will carry kerosene, diesel, naphtha same time. Why? Because every place where you are going to discharge it, that they have got local use for things. So you always have got large number of tanks, 12 to 30. Whereas a crude oil carrier will generally have between 12, say 12 to 15 tanks. But product carriers have got 30 or it can be even higher. Normally they are also chartered by oil companies to send their, means in India oil companies are also refinery owners. So generally, they Indian Oil and all they charter them, and then they send their products to smaller ports. So you get this idea. Something like this you will find. Okay, at sea there will be one connectivity, or connectivity will be with boats to this pier, and they come. This one looks like, you can see my cursor, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this one looks like a crude oil carrier which is discharging. It is going somewhere here to the refinery, and refinery is also sending back the finished products in smaller tankers which can go to smaller ports. Got general idea? They are tankers, they have got inert gas, but they don't have crude oil washing. They carry sort of clean oils. Clean oil means like kerosene, petrol, diesel, gas oil. There are different varieties of diesel also. Now, what is the thing they have got? They will have fairly large amount of tanks and large amount of pipelines because you don't want to contaminate one product with other. So that is one thing. Then, usual, if you are going to carry liquid, you will have cargo pump room. You will have inert gas system because that is a tanker. Then some midship crane to connect pipelines, mast risers for ventilation of tanks because obviously whatever vapors you are going to release, they are flammable, so you need a mast riser. Segregated ballast tank. Segregated means separate ballast tanks, means there is no tank which is used for either ballast or fuel, of not fuel, say cargo. They are separate, so there cannot be contamination when you discharge the ballast, so you don't pollute the sea. Then hydrocarbon gas monitoring system for all tanks, void spaces, to know in case there is any crack and anything is leaking. Cargo control room, from where you control all the pumps, you know what is the alleged volume in the tank and etc. Everything from there. And then there are always remember, all tankers have got slop tanks, because when they clean up the tank after discharging cargo, there will be some dirt. Where do you keep that dirt? So that dirt is pumped into slop tanks, and slop tanks are discharged normally ashore, or once in a while you get instruction mix it up with the cargo, because it has got value, and when you dispose it ashore you pay money to dispose it, like garbage services. They have got a standard ballast tanks, double bottom tank, fore peak, after peak tank, wing tanks, because all of them are now double skin, double hull. Hull is double. Length can be even smaller than 80 meters, but normally they will go up to 150 meters, because the parcel sizes are such. Unless there is a specially designed ship which is going between the few ports only and carrying massive amount, that is another thing. Now, length and breadth ratio, I told you, it is between 1 is to 6 to 1 is to 7. Okay, approximately 6 plus minus little bit here and there. Capacity can be 2,000 tons to generally 30,000 tons, 50,000 tons. I have heard recently, but it's not going to go to 1 lakh ton or something. It may go to say maybe 50, 60,000 tons and stop there. Standard foremast and radar mast, because you don't need anything else. Everybody is okay with it right now? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Now let's check. Petroleum product tankers carry multiple products. Is it true or false? I had told you, multiple products. Okay. Now, somebody is saying something. Hi. Too much of confusion. Okay, good. Now we come to gas carriers. What happened earlier days when they started refining, means taking out oil from the earth, the gas used to come. And what was done was, every pumping station where they were pumping up the oil had a funnel where you always found a well lit flame. So intention was, what is it you have to, because if you release it without burning it, it might make whole atmosphere hazardous and it can explode anytime, killing everybody. So they had to burn it. But everybody knew that is something you are burning, and they did not have a control. So earlier pictures, if you see any oil fields, you will always find lots of flames there. So they decided, let us also extract this gas. So now gas is also extracted in the form of LNG. So they put pipelines to get the gas to refineries. And from there it was compressed, made into liquid. By compression, you can convert any gas in liquid. So it was made in liquid format, which makes it easier to transport. And when you do it, when you put it in liquid format, the boiling temperatures can be like minus 100 degrees, minus 150 degrees in Celsius. So now you want to carry this, so you need special tanks. The special tanks are required because you are going to carry it under different conditions. One is fully pressurized. Fully pressurized means it is just compressed, made into liquid, and whole thing is loaded in a special tank, very strong tanks. And you know it is going to remain under the pressure till you discharge it. That was one. It is still followed. Another one is I don't want to pressurize that much. I semi pressurize it and refrigerate it, because as I refrigerate it, the rate of evaporation drops down. So do that. Third one is you make it into liquid and fully refrigerated so that there will not be much of vapor pressure. Now these terms you must have studied in science, correct? Vapor pressure and all. Yes or no? No?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I know. I know you all are smart
Yes,
folks.
sir.
Okay. So you made the ships. Now initially you see the spherical shape of the tank has got something to do with physics, pressures and all. Okay. Metal you will find. You have to use this metal. It is strong enough to hold something in that. Like the tanks, gas cylinders you get at home. It has got a liquid inside which keeps on evaporating. It is at room temperature. And what we use is the gas, but it is strong enough to withhold that vapor pressure. Similarly, you earlier days ships used to have these spherical tanks. Now, how do you construct these ships? Simple. You take the middle area first, where cargo area. In cargo area, you need to have these tanks. So, you make these tanks, install them, give them proper support, and then attach bow and stern. That is how you make these ships. So, that's why you can see these tanks on top. Both the ships, LNGs. LPG, the design is little bit different. It is liquefied petroleum gas, and this is liquefied natural gas. Means that second product is after some refining. So first is LNG. They have got, now what happens is we saw the three things. If it is fully pressurized, it is a big challenge. Fully pressurized means for metallurgy. That can you make that strong tank, and is it worth the weight it will have? Okay, so that is the first challenge, because you say I can make a strong tank, yes, but it is very heavy, so I can't carry much of cargo. So I don't want that either. Then other choice was semi pressurized refrigerated. Moment you say refrigerated, what are you refrigerating? Two things. One is the temperature of the liquid. Other one is whatever vapor you are going to get, you are going to re-liquefy it back in cargo and put it back in the cargo. So that re-liquefaction needs compressors. So along with refrigeration, we also need the compressors. So that is what we are looking at. Re-liquefaction, compressors, then refrigeration system, cargo tanks to hold pressurized liquefied gases. Inert gas system is also provided, because generally if you got only this cargo inside, it will be too rich to burn. But when you have to gas free it, you are going to go through a critical stage. That's why you have got inert gas system also, or nitrogen system. These days production of nitrogen has become much cheaper, so a lot of places they are replaced inert gas with nitrogen. Cargo can be 4 to 6 tanks depending on the size of the ship. Wing tank, double bottom, 4 peak, after peak, standard ballast tanks. Cargo gear is what? Cargo pumps. Now there are different types of pumps here. So just know that there are pumps. Foremast or radar mast, standard one. Capacity is measured in cubic meters. 2000 to 50,000, I have heard, but probably we have got now 100,000 cubic meter ones also. Because people are using more and more of LNG and all for cars. LPG, LNG. Now, based on the capacity, length will vary. Normally, up to 200 meters is reasonable. Then you have got, say, something like 1/6 is for breadth, and draft will be anything 11 meters up to 11 meters, because what happens is you can't dig everything deep all over. You have got certain limitation of the ocean depth, and along with the progress it will keep on changing. Then you have got LPG tankers. They're very similar, but their tanks are little different shape. So they are underneath here, under this, and every LPG ship you will notice this part. This is the compressor room. Same thing. It is hardly any difference, but they have got products, specialized products like propane, butane, and all. I think propane is used in lighters, cigarette lighters. That's propane. Butane also is used something like that. Plus, they have got other use, industrial use. So these ships carry specialized products, and they got same thing: pressurized, refrigerated, partially or fully. But they don't. You can't see from a distance that this is LPG. That's why these guys write generally LPG. And this is important one. This is the compressor room which is required, and remaining ones are pipelines and all, where they are insulated, highly insulated, because when you start discharging loading, and then in the middle you always have a small crane to lift up, like here you can see it more clearly. See, okay, this is to connect the pipelines. The manifold is, this is area is called manifold, and to connect the external flexible pipe, rubber pipes. Once you connect it, then you can pump from here, it will go to the refineries. So the differences are minute, means for at this stage you don't worry about the differences. What is LNG and LPG? That you will cover it later on. Main thing, same features: compressors for re-liquefaction, refrigeration system, cargo tanks to hold pressurized liquefied gases, inert gas system. All things are more or less identical, and capacity can be, like I have heard, capacities of up to 100,000 cubic meters. Okay. Any questions on this? Huh? Any questions? Or you all are going to sleep? You hear
No,
me?
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Any questions?
No, sir.
No. Very good. Now somebody is putting in
Sir, the
question.
compressor works automatically or it is manual?
No, no. Everything can be adjusted automatically with the required pressures and all. There is nothing manual on a ship. Means you always have manual override. Means I don't want to use auto, I can switch over to manual. But there is nothing manual anyway on ships. Just remember this part. Everything has got CNG and LNG. It's the same thing. CNG and LNG is the same thing. Compressed natural gas, and this is liquefied natural gas. What you are asking is the cars are using CNG, na? It is the same thing. Okay, anybody more? Any questions? No.
No, sir.
Okay, good. Because I must understand that. Okay, gas carriers can carry gases in liquefied form only at sub-zero temperatures. True or false? Now, you have got other type of gas carriers which don't carry uh, inflammable or flammable liquids or gases. Those are like ammonia, and there are some more chemicals which are carried like that. So these ships, ammonia ships, also like same. The tanks are constructed of special metals because ammonia reacts with steel. So they are constructed with different metals and fixed inside the hull of a ship, and they have got little different requirements because what happens is the danger involved there is toxicity, not flammability. So toxicity is more dangerous for human beings. So there are special arrangements to ensure that in case there is a leak, what is to be done and all, which you will cover up later on. Right now, you understand difference between flammability and hazardous. Something can be flammable and hazardous, and something can be only hazardous but not necessarily flammable. Okay, what is it? Yeah, smell of ammonia is very bad, and if you inhale extra, you can die. Even though this was used for treatment of cold or something, they used to give little bit, and then you suddenly feel that hitting your head and all. It was supposed to clear your nose and all. But anyway, we don't use it. But ammonia is very much required everywhere for industrial production. Misri. Misri is that sugar, na? Okay. Then you have got other type of liquid carriers. Now chemicals we saw. Similar like product tankers. They have got large number of tanks, large number of pumps. You don't intermix things. But these days the parcel size of chemicals has increased because our some cadets have been on ammonia carriers, and he told me they could carry something like say 50,000 cubic meters ammonia. Maybe what happened, the bigger industries, their requirement has become bigger. Then you have got general liquid carriers that can be like non-hazardous, like orange juice, edible oil, wine, water. That is non-hazardous stuff, and then chemicals are hazardous. So chemicals, but see, basic construction will be similar. The safety systems will vary. Construction will be basically similar. This is the ship, these are the tanks, these are the pumps for loading, discharging. This is where we release the vapor, and then we already know that you can refrigerate things. So like orange juice is to be carried. Orange juice you want to keep it at say 2 degrees Celsius. So there will be full-fledged system which will make sure that it remains at 2 degrees Celsius. And also one of the points, just if you can remember, it will be good. Remember one thing, all the ship's refrigeration machinery which is used is to maintain temperature. Means you can't be loading orange juice at 30 degrees Celsius and expect ship to cool it down to 2 degrees. So you load orange juice at 2 degrees temperature and ship system maintains 2 degrees. You understood the difference? Any answers? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Understood,
Yes,
no?
sir.
Yeah. So always remember
Yes, sir.
ship's machinery is to maintain temperature, not to cool it. Because then you need higher capacity. This argument keeps on coming regularly when you carry refrigerated cargoes. Okay. Safety requirements will change according to the design of the ship, but according to what cargoes they are going to carry. Chemicals means it will have neutralizing agents provided. That means if there is a chemical spill, you put neutralizing agent, it neutralizes, and you can control the spill. That means you don't pollute oceans. Orange juice, like I just mentioned, normally all these ships are specialized ships and they are owned by the companies only because they are big giants. So like Captain Lakdawala used to command these ones. See, tanks are inside, so all the ships from distance look similar. all refrigerated. This is a compressor plant. This is compressor plant, and they just load on one side, go and discharge on other side. Clean again. They can't pump out everything overboard. Huh? This cargo, orange juice also you can't throw it in the ocean. So there are methods how to clean it and how to keep it in the slop, and then you dispose it off ashore. Edible oil carriers, they carry like palm oil. All the interestingly, most of the oil what you are using in kitchen is imported through these ships, edible oil carriers. They are like tankers, but the safety requirements are lesser. Everything else is like a tanker. Pumps, heating coils, because you have to maintain it at certain heat. Otherwise, what happens? It might become solid or waxy, and then it becomes very difficult to discharge. I know one case long back I had heard, long ago actually. It seems one of the Indian ships loaded uh, some oil product tanker, and they went to USA to discharge. Now charterers gave them very specific instructions: do not heat oil. I mean, do not heat the cargo. So they did not heat the cargo. When they went and reached New Orleans, I think they realized the lot of oil was sort of frozen in the sense it had become too thick, so they couldn't pump out easily. So they got new instruction: heat the oil and keep pumping. So instead of staying in the port for 24 hours, they stayed there for I think about 12 or 13 days. That was their luck. Okay, wine carriers, generally small ones. Nowadays, most of these ships have become extinct because of tank containers, these wine carriers. Water carriers also, but they are small. Generally, they are not big size, they are small size ships. Chemical carriers, of course, depends on what type of chemical you are carrying and what are the requirements. They can vary in size drastically. Lot of places know, like for example, I know there used to be ammonia barges, means small ships actually, self-propelled. They used to operate in Kerala for one company. I worked, my first job ashore was with that company. Then there are some of them industrial supplies and all, those are chemicals which are required for the production of certain type of things. So but they are generally owned by a specialist company, like a chemical ships. Generally, you'll find these tolled tankers and tolled containers. They have got both, and they are specialized in it. Means they don't deal with any other types of ships. It's a company which is, you can say, the designed and used to be first. I think Stolt was actually, I think, French or German, something like that. Okay, now these days, lot of cargo has shifted, because what happens is you can put it in a capacity of 20,000 liters stainless steel tank and put it on the container and transport it, which is much easier, because after all, the there is a lot of businesses spread out, so the requirements are not huge thing. Because either suppose if I bring, for example, alcohol, okay, whiskey, in a tanker, then what happens? I have to discharge in something in smaller parcels. Somebody has to make in smaller parcels and transport it to a bottling plant where it will be bottled and all. So it becomes difficult. So nowadays, most of these products go by containers. Any doubts on this? Hmm.
No,
Any
sir.
doubts on these ships? Huh? No. Yes. No.
No, sir.
No,
No.
sir.
Okay. Good. We go to the next one. Practically all liquids can be carried on liquid carriers. True or false? Hmm? True, because whatever can be moved. Correct? Very good. Cheers, because we said whiskey, no? Okay. Now we come to the last part of the types of ships. Those are specialized ships. See, it is like this. All other ships, we were making it to take cargo from A to B. That means they need to travel. When they need to travel, you are very much worried about the fuel consumption, which is that is a big chunk. That means you are worried about the hydrodynamics, the shape of the underwater shape. So how much resistance you want to reduce the resistance, so you use minimum fuel and then you make good money. But our purpose was to carry cargoes. That means we had the cargo area which was designed for carrying specific cargoes, and they are more general purpose. Now we come to ships who are not expected to travel A to B. They are used in a localized situations only. That means I take a ship to a spot, say P. It operates around the P only. It doesn't go from P to Q or something like that, or A to B. If it is in A, it operates around A. These ships are also specially built because they have got a certain purpose, like supply vessel. They are called supply vessel. They are also called platform ones. There are videos, you will see enough of them. Supply
Sir,
vessels. Huh? Yes.
this I did not understand. You said that if it goes from P to Q, then it will operate only along Q. What does this mean, sir?
It means they are locally operated. They don't really go across the oceans or across long distance ports. They operate in a small area.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, sir.
Like supply vessel, for example. This is a supply vessel. Supply vessel, if you find them parked in, means anchored in Mumbai harbor, where are they going? They between the Mumbai harbor to the oil platforms, that Bombay High. Okay, Bombay High is there, which is about 80 nautical miles from the Mumbai harbor. So
Means
they
if
do shuttle service there, sort of. Okay,
oh,
now they are designed for multi-purpose things. They have got, like for example, it has got small crane, it has got small area to load all sorts of supplies or spare parts, because oil stations have got lot of requirements. So this is a shuttle service between, say, harbor and the offshore oil platforms.
can we
Drilling
work on
vessel,
that, sir?
for example. Okay,
Yes, sir.
drilling vessel is meant for drilling.
Okay, sir.
It is not going to be supplying anything, but what is its purpose is to hold the position in one position which is given to them up by surveyor or whatever survey they do for oil drilling, and then it maintains its position. It has got lots of propellers under this, they maintain the position and they drill. Their accuracy can be 1 centimeter in position, and then they keep on drilling it, like if you have seen drilling of for water, those wells are there, na? So you get a truck coming there, and then one by one they keep on connecting and drilling. Same thing this one does for oil. But see, the requirement is what? Helipad. All these ones need helipad. Helipad is there. Some cranes are there for whatever purpose they need to handle the drills. Main thing for drilling, accommodation squeezed in, and whatever the work areas they need related to drilling. But the ship is designed for it. And then you have attached the bow and attach the engine from stern. This is your main purpose. And they use very highly sophisticated navigation system to have that accurate drilling. Otherwise you miss it, you miss the well. Icebreakers nowadays again there is a discussion of icebreakers. Icebreakers are the ships which are designed to break ice, as the name goes. Now this bow, it has got a different shape. What is done is these ships can change the ballast quickly. So they actually go over the ice, then ballast it and put the pressure on ice so that ice cracks. Some of them also have got some sort of a big, you can say, propeller like thing which breaks the ice. But basically, what they do is they are very strong ships, very strong. Their purpose is to sort of, force the way through ice. Because then what happens, as they break the ice, it keeps on moving away and the channel gets created. And the ship will use that channel. So very often when you see these icebreakers working, I have never seen one anyway. I have seen the icebreaker in port. But these icebreakers, when they are working, you will find icebreaker in the front here, then one ship, second ship, third ship, fourth ship. So the channel is made and these people go through the channel, the cargo ships. But these days, what has happened is, like Russians have got nuclear powered ones also, because they have got north route, the north polar route, which is opening up now, because nowadays they say with the global warming, the route is getting clearer. But they used to use that route to come from something north of Japan to Europe, which is very short route. So they used to use that. What is this? Icebreaker, because what happens, sea freezes. Lots of ports they freeze. Water freezes all over. And you have to operate in that port. So what happens? You need to break the ice in winters. So breaking ice, see, in the port I can do some arrangement and something, it's okay. But what about a route to the port? I cannot go to the port because my route is blocked by ice. So icebreakers go there and break that ice, create the channel, and the ships follow through the channel and go to the port. These days, what has happened is they have found a better method, because the places have got connected with rail, roads. So dependence on shipping has dropped down. Like for example, Great Lakes, which are between Canada and USA, they also have issues with ice in winters. So they close the ports only, and they are connected by rail and road. So there is no need for ships to go there. Understood? Yes, no.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Well understood. Thank you, sir.
And I don't say thank you and all, that becomes little excessive. Okay. See the tugboats. Tugboats are for towing. Every ship is designed to go in fore and aft direction, correct? Forward direction basically, not even going astern. But technically we can say it can go aft also by turning propeller other way around. So either it goes this way and comes back. But when you come to the port, the berth is this side. So I have to move sideways. How will I move sideways? That is where you need the tugboats. So tugboats assist you because you do not have enough of space. You don't have enough of space in ports to do maneuvering and try to come alongside. So tugboats assist you. This is a tugboat. This Crowley is a tugboat. It has passed the wire probably to make fast on ship, and they will use the pulling, means they will start pulling. Now tugs have got minimum volume, underwater volume, in when they are designed, because they don't carry any cargo. There is no question of load line only. There is no load line. You just pull, push, and your job is over. They work in shifts, and they don't have anything. Generally, they don't carry, but most of them also have got firefighting arrangements. Means strong pump, which can throw water at long distance. They are quite expensive anyway. So sometimes ships like this ship has also one bow thruster here. But bow thruster and stern thrusters can't match exactly the. Yes, when the tugboats and all were restricted, that time a lot of ships were designed with bow thruster, stern thruster. Today also you'll find a lot of ships which reduce your dependence on tugboats. Tugboat has got very powerful engine. Its purpose is to push the ship where ship cannot normally go, like sideways. Or if ship has to turn in a minimum distance, then tugboats will pull and turn the ship. So those are the tugboats. That's the one you are going to see all the time, tugboats. Pilot boat is just a small boat with lots of these types of railings. What happens? The pilot boat needs very good speed. Then it has to have a, it is expected to go alongside. So this is like rubber fenders. So it will not get damaged. Its purpose is to bring pilot on board or take him off from the ship. But these rails are there because pilot stands here and he looks for opportunity when he can get to the ladder safely. That is why you'll find lots of rails like this to hold position. If I'm standing there, I can hold till I get opportunity, then I leave my hand and catch the ladder. Okay, it happens in rough weather. Normally we take a lot of precautions that we should not get this excitement, because excitement can be dangerous. Research vessel. What it needs basically is one helipad, that is for sure. Now this one is shown in probably South Pole area. Large accommodation, because you have got scientists and all. Then there will be some labs and all inside. And usual ship's crew. Well sealed. Good fuel capacity, because once they go on a voyage, they may not be coming back for fuel for maybe 4 months or 6 months. It's possible. So they have got good capacity, and they are basically dedicated for research. Means scientists will be there. They will put their thinking that no, captain, I need to take the sample from here. Fine, captain takes the ship there. Then they take the samples, do a lot of stuff. Or if they are going to like South Pole, India also has got a station there, and India also has got research vessel. So they are also made icebreaker class hull, means strong hull is there. They may be required to, they don't force the ice, but if required small, weak ice, they can force. Size of the research vessel varies. It may be 100 meters long, but I think just around 100 meters should be good size. Because their purpose is all the specialist equipment which you carry for research. So they may have some special sensors, everything built in, or they have to lower it. Because research vessels operate for two things. One is scientific research on the polar regions and all. Another one, the coastal area scientific research. And another one, or probably more common use, is to find oil. Where is the oil? Yeah, they do survey. They do survey and do more also. More than survey also, because at times this may become a temporary station for scientists. Helicopter will be taking them from here to here probably. So they go for their work, they return back. So this becomes also like a hostel. Very specialist job. There are a few guys who like to work there only. I had met one. So, okay, cable laying ships. This internet and all, what we talk about, it's also connected by cables. That is the main one.
Okay.
Huh?
Optic
Satellite one is
fiber
different.
cable.
The cables were laid in 1857. First cable was laid 1857. Then America started communicating with Europe. But imagine those days how they must have done, because the steel ships were relatively new concept, ships made up of steel. Then engine were, you can say, very basic design, but they used to carry this cable and kept on laying it. So they carry cables and they go generally very slow. If they are operating somewhere, they will have some communication with any ship around. Don't interfere, we are working here. This is how it goes. Now see, again, it has also got all specialized things. It is not designed for, it is not really designed for uh, doing any other work except the cable laying. So they carry the lot of spare cable and it keeps on moving in a very specified route and keep on releasing the cable from behind. So like helipads are required, because how will they can't go anywhere else. So helipad, and actually making helipad is not a big issue. You can make it anywhere. Very simple thing you need. घर के बाहर भी बना सकता है if you want. So again, the construction
Helicopter.
is not really designed to go at some speed. If they travel generally at the speed of about 2 knots, 3 knots when they are working, not more. Firefighting vessel, not so common today, but it used to be there, especially in Great Lakes. Means it is a tugboat designed for specifically for firefighting. Yeah, they lower it down. They lower it down, and then actually they are supposed to bury it. How they do burying operation, I don't know, because burying is done only in what I will say, shallow waters. Shallow waters, to protect the cable, they bury it. It is about 2 meters below the seabed. But in deep waters, they don't have to worry because nobody is going to drop anything there. So they just lay it down. Firefighting tugs came in because what happened? A lot of industries in Great Lakes were situated on waterfront. And in case of any fire, how will you fight fire? Because from land bringing water is difficult. Whereas the water is available there, it is in fresh water. So it basically started in Great Lakes. The specially designed small ships. Yeah, in rough weather, probably they don't work. They plan it out. It is not very common thing. The specialized jobs, they plan out the job and they do it. Otherwise, they just stay in port like that. Okay, coming back to firefighting boats. So the boats were designed to fight fire in the industries which were on waterfront. And water was there, so all they needed was a pump and something that floats, that is a ship. Put the pumps there, and means of there will be operation area, and you can shoot the water to the fire. But today this function is taken over by tugboats in ports. Semi-submersible. How do you think this submarine landed on top of the ship? It was too heavy to be lifted by any crane, obviously. So what is these ships do? These are specialized ships again.
The ship sank down
Yeah,
and then it came.
correct. Ship goes down. That means ship will go down like this. Okay, up to this level. Okay, means this will be underwater. Yeah. Okay. So this ship will take the ballast. Ballast tanks are all over. Sink up to here. Then at that position, this will be brought there, put in right position. Then this starts pumping out. This one starts pumping it out so that it floats. And that is how this one has come on top of this ship. So this is done, but this is again specialized ship. They wait for cargoes in the port. Sometimes for one year, they hardly carry any cargo. They might get a good contract after that, but they are designed for a specific purpose. Barges. When we say barges, or we have seen those lighters, right? Last ship one. Those are also barges. These are single hull pieces. Pieces only, I will say, because calling it a ship also is little odd, because we call it barge. Barge is a single hull, just a box designed to carry maximum cargo. So there is no special shape given in the front, except for towing in the reverse. Mostly it is in a reverse creeks, like Calcutta used to have a lot of barges. Mumbai used to have, because barge needs very shallow depths. They can go to very shallow places, and they are generally tough, that even the low tide water goes down, they are sitting on the bottom, no problem. Because making port and doing things is a lot more expensive. So barges started earlier, and it's a matter of time. Maybe in another 10-20 years, you may not see the barges, or very few barges you will see, because as the development comes in, you don't need them so much. Otherwise, the idea is like, see here, it is pulling, it is towing. You will realize this part in ROR. This is tugboat towing the barge, and this is tugboat pushing the barge. Okay. Mainly, you will see it in USA, lot in USA. Yeah, they are just like train bogies. Exactly, you said it right. You leave them, then you take your own time to load or discharge. When the job is done, you say same thing like railway bogies. Anchor handling ship, these days you do see a combination one. This is the more specialized one, but most of the time these functions are put together with the regular supply vessels. They need to handle these anchors, because sometimes you need to anchor in exact locations. So the oil platforms and all, if you are going to anchor them, they don't have arrangement to go around. So these ones catch their anchor, take it to the required place and drop it, and make sure that oil platform is in perfect position. So this is a specialized job. Today, when you start oil station, the offshore field, that time you see them more often. Once the things are already in place, then you don't see them. So again, they are very specialized ships. And the anchor handling, because those anchors, those ones cannot go like ship. Ship, I go to some place and I drop the anchor, right? It's in control, my control. There, those ones don't even have engines to move on sideways or in direction. So that is where you need to put anchors in right locations. Or if you are putting navigational buoy, then you need anchor handling one, because that buoy has to be in right location. Bottom there will be 3 anchors and one chain in the middle. So dropping those 3 anchors and all is handled by these ships. Pipe laying ships are similar to cable laying ships. See, similar. Lot of accommodation, because a lot of people are involved in this other than normal ship staff for pipe laying operation. The pipes are welded. The pipes are stored here. First piece will be welded to next one. Then they do wrapping and all. And then this is lowered down. Then the second one will be welded to third one, fourth one, fifth one, like that. They also travel at a speed of like 1 knot per hour. Very slow moving. And they also work in generally good weather, because same, they work in shallow waters basically, generally. Or deep waters, when they have to do it is okay. Like if you will notice that India is talking about some pipeline from the Gulf. One pipeline comes to India from Gulf. So everybody wants more. In that case, you don't need more ships. You can pump oil directly from Arabian Gulf or Persian Gulf, whichever way you call it, to India, where India picks up and distributes it the way it needs for further refining. Now, very often, these pipeline ships or cable ones may have barges alongside. The reason is the extra pipelines, which you cannot store here, will be on that barge. Like suppose if this barge is there, okay, full of pipes or cable. So this is kept on side. So as you finish your stock, you take the stock from there. So it's possible to see combination of them. Then we come to the dredgers. Dredgers are what? Dredgers make port deeper by removing the bottom sand or soil or whatever you have. So their activity is excavation on the bottom of the sea. And there are many types of dredgers. Don't go deep in it. But just remember dredgers can have a pipeline connected to them. Means my dredging is here. This is shore. I may have a pipeline connected to shore. That type of dredgers which you will see more often than not. What happens is they have got some sort of a churning mechanism. They churn the bottom area, so it becomes a mixture of soil plus water. Then they pump it to the nearby area which is designed to take it. So the soil will sink there, water will come back. So over a period you develop a port. This is how it is done normally. So you will see dredgers. Something, this is one clean example. Don't worry, you may not see dredgers this clean. Dredgers can be quite dirty. But accommodation can be in front or a back, and the middle areas are for dredging equipment. Then there are different types of. Some dredgers are used for diamond mining. Same thing, you churn the bottom, take the water, then water goes through their detection system. Whenever they find diamond, they separate it, otherwise they put back. And nowadays there is a lot of stress on dredgers for mining, because it is much easier using dredgers for mining. Because what happens right now, we are mining only on land. Very little mining is done in the sea, and everybody knows there are things on the sea bottom. How do you get them? So the dredgers will come in. Fishing trawlers. There are two types of fishing boats. Okay. Oh, they have got a system. Okay. If the question is, if the pre-laid pipelines get damaged in between, how are they going to repair it? Oh, there are systems. They take care of everything. They can use the divers. They have got the submarines also available. If something is damaged, they will go, they will put the wire, they lift up the whole thing, and they will fix it up again and put it back. There are systems. But normally, I don't think they get damaged that easily. It had happened to India many years ago when you were small, that near Alexandria, Egypt, the one ship, somebody dropped anchor and somehow that internet cable was damaged and India suffered for more than a week. All over India, we had a serious problem with it. And Reliance was involved somewhere because that was Reliance cable. Okay, fishing trawlers are made for fishing. Usual accommodation will be there. Then there will be some arrangement to pull the net, strong winches or something, because you can't pull out the net by hand. And trawlers are the ones who do fishing while moving. They are moving at some speed, maybe 4 knots, 5 knots. Trawling means what? They put the net on the bottom of the sea and just dredge it. Means, just pull everything that comes in between. And normally what you get on the seabed, basically prawns are the main ones. So they do trawling for prawns. Sometimes two of them do it in pair. One end here, and they pull everything in the middle. and they operate more than one net. Then there is something like a factory ship. This is a factory ship. What happens is, because Russians started it earlier, because Pacific Ocean, which covers about half the surface of Earth, almost, okay, has got a lot of fish available. The fish doesn't grow everywhere. In certain areas only you will get the fish, because fish needs food to eat. No, where will you get food? What we consider garbage is food for them. So ecosystems are there. So what they used to do was, if you carry the fish, you may find 30% of fish is useless, you cannot eat. So it is waste. So why do you want to carry so much? So they started using a concept of mothership, which was a factory, and small fishing boats. So boats used to catch the fish, put it on the factory ship, and factory ship they had the staff to process it, clean it properly, cut it, freeze it, and all the wastages throw back in the water, which becomes the food for the fish, and more fish will come. So those are the factory ships. So they can take the loads from here, then there is the processing inside, and uh, only the sellable stuff is kept with proper boxing and everything, so it can go to the shelf straight away. Those are the factory ships, motherships. Ordinary fishing boat can be anything. This is the one you will find probably in Kerala. You must have seen these ones. Goa, you will see them. Those are ordinary fishing boats. Again, they are meant for fishing, so they are basically fishing gear. They don't travel that much. Most of these fishing boats, trawlers, and all, they're all localized use. All, like I told you, all special purpose ones are localized use. And the ones which go between A and B, like pipeline ship or cable laying ship, they go at too slow speed to worry about hull shape and all. Even though you will try your best, but within limits you will do your best. Any doubts right now? Hmm. Even if you remember all these different names and their purpose, it is good enough. Okay? These are all smaller ones for children like thing. There is also mine clearance. That is generally a naval ship, but they clear mines. Ships don't move slowly. The ones which are going to move slowly are cable laying, pipe laying, because their speed is connected to how fast you are connecting the pipelines, or how fast you can lay out the cable without damaging it. You will have to reconnect in the middle. You may not have a continuous cable going, say, how many kilometers? For 2000 kilometers, 3000 kilometers. So you will have maybe parcel size of, say, 1000 meters each. So after 1000 meters, you need to connect it again, no? Pipeline, the length may be, say, 12 meters. So every 12 meters, ships don't really cause that much of pollution, but you realize one thing: a ship's engine is simply too big. Like air pollution, I will give you example. Uh, Normal motorcycle BHP is about 10, and ship's engine may have 80,000 BHP, 60,000 BHP. That is like 5,000, 6,000 motorcycles on the road. So you add up together, because of size, it starts looking significant. Okay, let's do knowledge check. I know we are running late, but let us finish it off. Specialized ships are not designed for long sailing, but for a very specific commercial purpose. Yes. Okay, this is where we finish the chapter. Okay, it will go back to the same one.